X-rays were negative, but he underwent further testing today that revealed that he's going to be out 8 weeks. A tough season for Kittle. Obviously, he missed 2 games earlier with the knee injury. Now he'll miss 8 more. As for Jimmy Garoppolo, aggravated the high ankle sprain that he's been playing with since week 2. I'm told he'll miss a minimum of 6 weeks and maybe more if he does need ankle surgery. So he's out indefinitely, and it looks like his season also could be over. So in one afternoon in Seattle, the 49ers had the season of George Kittle and Jimmy Garoppolo for all intents and purposes, and that doesn't include the injuries that they also suffered to running back Tevin Coleman and other players as well, Laura.
Yeah, just a tough time for those 49ers with the injuries. It's also Jimmy G's 29th birthday today. He'd certainly hope for better news on his B-Day. But anyway, the 49ers also involved in a trade today. Adam, what do we know there with the trade deadline tomorrow at 4 Eastern?
They sent Quan Alexander to the New Orleans Saints for a conditional 5th-round draft pick and Kiko Alonso, who's been traded 4 times now. The 49ers obviously liked Quan Alexander as a player, but was due a lot of money during the offseason. I don't think they intended to pay it at that point in time. The Saints needed linebacker help, and so the Saints parted with their own linebacker and a 5th-round pick to get Quan Alexander. As for Desmond King, the former Pro Bowl defensive back, he was dealt today to the Tennessee Titans for a 6th-round draft pick. The Titans have been looking for cornerback help. The Chargers didn't have King available to them yesterday in Denver, so a big trade there. And some other news as well, Laura. Javon Wims, the Bears wide receiver, suspended 2 games today for his conduct Sunday, and the Jaguars are expected to start their rookie 6th-round draft pick, Jake Luton, on Sunday against the Houston Texans at quarterback.
All right, Adam Schefter with us all show long. Plenty more news coming your way, but let's get to that 49ers game from yesterday against the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson was cooking in this one, Dan Orlovsky. This is the last play of the 4th quarter. No score. Wilson finds one of his favorite targets, DK Metcalf.
Yeah, and he gets pressure off his right. There's a void in the middle of the field. He gets the ball out, and then DK just runs away from everybody. Huge early touchdown for the Seahawks offense.
Yeah, that actually in the 1st quarter. But anyway, 2nd quarter, Seahawks down there, and Wilson lobbing the pass right there down the sideline.
They do have a great kind of connection on those go routes, and then you get down to the 2-yard line. It's a hard ball, play-action pass, and DK just goes full body mode, gets inside that defender, ball in his chest, touchdown Seattle.
All right, a few plays later in that drive, there was that play action. There, all right, 3rd quarter, Seattle up 20-7. Wilson trying to put the game away, avoiding the sack there, Dan.
Don't take it for granted how special this is, how unique and hard it is to avoid that sack, 2 hands on the ball, and find David Moore on that shallow cross.
Seahawks win 37-27, improving to that 6-1 record. And the Niners blitz Russell Wilson on 46% of his dropbacks Sunday without much luck. Russ managed to complete 3 of his 4 touchdowns under duress, bringing his season total to 12, which is already tied for the most in a single season since ESPN began tracking these sorts of things back in 2009. But let me take this one step further. Look, I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP, but I'm not saying it. He's already surpassed the league's last 3 MVPs in those numbers there. So, Marcus, how was Russ able to just pick apart that defense yesterday?
Very simple formula, Els. Russ went back to the guy that he has on the outside. If we look at the 3 picks from Arizona and also not getting DK Metcalf involved early and often against the Cardinals, we all know how the response was going to be. And listen, Russ is this type of player. Like Russ, if he feels like he's cost his team a victory, he's definitely going to be the reason they win the following week. And we saw it on display. We saw the accuracy. We saw being smart with the football, taking what the defense was giving them, and also getting the ball into his playmakers' hands quick and letting them make plays as well. It was an impressive performance, which was well expected after a 3-turnover performance against Arizona. And this is the thing, too. Russ understands now when you start to see this NFC picture start to unfold and put itself together, he understands what he's going to need to be in order to make a deep playoff run and win a Super Bowl. And I think we saw a part of that in this San Francisco game. San Fran had been playing well on defense. They had some impressive stops, obviously, against New England, who played hard. But even before that, Russ said, nah, cuz, I threw 3 picks. I'm going to throw 4 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks offense has become like a great baseball pitcher. You just got to have multiple pitches to go to. And that's just why weapons in the NFL in 2020 matter. Like, DK Metcalf has become an unstoppable receiver. And I played with Calvin Johnson for many years in Detroit, and the conversation was always like, we got to get someone outside of Calvin, someone opposite Calvin to take some pressure off of him. And Calvin would dominate, but you always wanted a secondary option. Well, DK is dominating one because he's a phenomenal player, but there's also other players on that football team that help them. A Tyler Lockett, if you're going to pay attention to DK Metcalf, he's going to get the ball. A David Moore, if you're going to pay attention to Lockett and DK Metcalf, there's other options. Now, if you're going to go, you know what, we got to take care of everybody, I'm telling you, I don't think there's a DB in the NFC that can go head-to-head with DK Metcalf right now. Like Mosley yesterday went into that game playing good football. He had given up, Mina gave me these numbers, he had given up a 50% completion percentage and 5 yards an attempt his way. Yesterday with DK, he had caught 7 of his 9 targets for 13 yards. Like, he absolutely dominated a corner who was having a good season, and it's because all the people on that offense.
I like when Dan steals Mina's numbers, but anyway, the Seahawks won the game, so you'd think that would make Mina kind of happy.
I credited
but
it.
her game pick on Friday is singing a little different tune. Let's remind you guys real fast of that.
2 words, Laura. Kyle Shanahan. I mean, the guy is like a contestant on Chopped. You could give him kale, candy corn, and a bag of peanuts, and he would bake you a damn cake. But if you're going to ask me to choose between Kyle Shanahan without Debo and the Seahawks without Jamal Adams, because it looks like he might not play, I'm taking Shanahan in that matchup.
Oh, Mina, are you happy with the result? What do you got to say for yourself?
Seattle Twitter.
First of all, it's called an emotional hedge, guys. If they lose, I win. If they win, I win. That's how that works. But look, the Seahawks offense dominating was not surprising. They've been a buzzsaw all year. The play of the Seahawks defense through 3 quarters was surprising, and that's important. In fact, through those 3 quarters, before Jimmy Garoppolo went out, he was pressured at the highest rate of his career as a starter. They were dialing up some super timely blitzes without Adams. Bobby Wagner was a monster in this game.